But if the Raptors are flirting with a 10, 9, 8 seed, they might just decide fuck it and miss the playoffs and get a better pick, honestly. That's my worry as a Raptors fan. I don't want to see us do that. I think that the Raptors could finish anywhere from here to here. Okay, next thing we're going to do, we are going to do a tier list of the Eastern Conference and how the standings might look at the end of the season, in my opinion. So we've got multiple categories, 5 different categories. Let's zoom it in for you guys. Right there. We've got our true contenders at the top. We've got our solid playoff teams in second. We've got our play-in tournament teams third. Our missed the playoff teams fourth. And our bottom feeders, teams that are not going to be anywhere near the playoffs, at the bottom. By the way, play-in tournament, I'm going to put in, like, even if you miss the playoffs, teams I think will believe in the play-in tournament will go here. That's their tier, even if they may not win that play-in tournament. True contenders, Brooklyn is the obvious one for true contenders. Brooklyn is the best team in the league. And unless there's injuries, they are going to win the NBA championship. There's no way you're going to stop them from doing that. Like let's be honest. We get the top 15 players in the NBA. Oh yeah. Plus they filled out their bench a lot more than last year. Oh yeah. True contenders, you can't really say that the defending champs are not going to be there, but they have to be there. But as far as, I mean, you can't doubt the champions. As much as I think they got worse with Giannis, if he's playing the way he was last year, then they are going to be a threat. They've got Giannis, they've got Middleton, they've got Drew Holiday. They kept Bobby Portis on a team-friendly deal. He's an important player. I mentioned it all through the playoffs, especially when he wasn't playing against the Nets. I said Bobby Portis is a really good player, and he showed that was true. Philadelphia, I don't know if I want to put them in that true contender status. Philadelphia, for me, I feel like we have to add in like a dark horse contender, because now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think Philly are just a solid playoff team, but I also don't think they are at that true contender level, because, you know, since the process began, they have yet to make conference final. They've been close, undoubtedly, but they're still yet to make a conference final. And you know how I feel about Ben Simmons, and until Ben Simmons proves to me that he can be that, like a guy who rises to the occasion, I can't really see them being a true contender. But a dark horse contender, I will say I put them in that category. Can I see them winning an NBA championship? Yes. But are they like that solidified contender? I don't think they're at that level of the Brooklyn Nets or the Milwaukee Bucks. If one of these two played the Sixers, I think that these two would beat them. Obviously, it's a whole year to go before we get there, so who really knows what it's going to look like at that time, but we'll put it there. Another dark horse contender, I really like what the Miami Heat have done with their team. Maybe not the most talented of teams, but an absolute dark horse. I think that describes them perfectly. They've got those bad men to play in the playoffs, like Jimmy Butler, who's not like the most talented superstar, but that he's just a winner. Kyle Lowry is a winner. PJ Tucker knows how to get winning done. Who else they added? They added in Markieff Morris, who's just a dog to have on your team. They've got Duncan Robinson, great player to have on your team. Tyler Hero, I think, is ready for a bounce back year. Bam Adebayo is an all-star, DPOY finalist. Did he make? I don't think he made All-NBA. Anyways, Bam Adebayo, immensely talented. That's a great team with a great coach, with a great system in place. That is a fantastic team. I don't think they're gonna get past the second round, but like they're a dark horse to get to the NBA finals. Truthfully, they can surprise people. They have the ability to surprise. They probably won't, but they have the keen ability to surprise. Solid playoff teams next. The Atlanta Hawks has got to a conference final. I believe they overachieved, but that is just, their rebuild process has been in motion, and they were just a little bit quicker than we thought they would be, because there was a great young core in place. DeAndre Hunter really ascended last year. John Collins, keeping him was important. Clint Capella, can't believe they got him for as cheap as they did. Trae Young is a superstar already. He's gonna get even better as his career progresses. Kevin Huerter, just found a different version of himself in the playoffs that I wasn't expecting. So solid playoff team there, 5 or 6 seed. Same with the New York Knicks. They were good last year. Thibodeau knows exactly what he's doing with that team, and with the Thibodeau system, the defense is great. They were good last year, and they're going to get even better because they added in some solid players. Evan Fournier, maybe a bit overpriced when they got him. However, a good player to add to that team. Problem with Evan Fournier is he always regresses in the big games. Can he find something else for the Knicks? We'll see. Kemba Walker, this team needed a point guard, and they got one. Derrick Rose is still there. He's going to be on the bench. Great 6-man to have. RJ Barrett is getting better. Julius Randle is going to bounce back from that abysmal playoff performance. Nerlens Noel rounds off nicely with that 5. So I put them there. Miami goes to dark horse. Yeah, they did that. Miami have a killer. Absolutely, McMahon. That's the exact way I describe it. Miami locker room is goated. Markieff and Lowry know each other since they're homies in Philly. Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry are best friends. The culture from Miami is going to be something that might propel them to the next level, so we put them there. Play-in tournament is where, you know, we can get a little bit more flimsy with who we put where. I think the Chicago Bulls have done enough with their offseason to get themselves in a playoff position. It is one of the best off seasons in terms of putting talent on their team. Is it the most well-rounded team? Definitely not. Their defense is going to struggle. Levine, not a great defender. DeRozan, a bad defender. Vucevic, really bad defender. They've got Patrick Williams, who's going to help them out with the defense. How much can he do? Lonzo Ball is a great defender. How much can he do when you've got all those other guys on your team? Is the depth going to help them? I think people are overrating the Chicago Bulls depth a little bit, like I overrated the Toronto Raptors depth last season. I think that they're a very well filled out 15-man team. But the top heavy players, there's a lack of top heavy players on the bench, and I think that's going to cost them from getting into the top 6. I think they will, however, be in a very good mix for the play-in tournament. They might flirt with a 5 or 6 seed. I think they're looking like a 7 or 8 seed along with the Boston Celtics. They continue to regress after what was like a great streak where it's like maybe a Bam Adebayo middle finger away from going to an NBA Finals. A game 7 against LeBron away from going to an NBA Finals. Like, they have just had some hard luck, and the team has fallen apart a little bit. They've added in Al Horford, Kemba Walker to help with money, but what's Al Horford really going to do with this team? Until Al Horford's gone, I can't see them really being contenders. And they might waste away this era with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. But with players as talented as them, 2 All-Stars, can they shock me and go a bit higher? Absolutely. But I think the Celtics will be kind of in the predicament they were in last season, where they're just not quite at the level they need to be that solid playoff team. 6'10" this is very interchangeable. Like, yeah, as you mentioned there, very interchangeable. Can I see this happening? Yeah, but I feel most confident with these here. More play-in teams. I think the Raptors are a lock for that 9 or 10 seed. Now, the problem with the Raptors is going to be they're absolutely talented enough to finish in a play-in tournament position. They're talented enough to host a play-in tournament game. The problem with predicting a Toronto Raptors season is if they're flirting with the play-in position, they may blow it up and tank. There's no guarantee that they are going to want to be in that play-in situation. So if they don't want to be there, they might be bottom feeding. But if they, like, in theory, if every team on this list is trying to win as many games as possible and is trying to get into the playoffs, the Raptors are absolutely a play-in team. And I get that there's 4 play-in spots, but I think that the Charlotte Hornets and the Indiana Pacers are at that play-in tournament level. I can't really decide between the two who would miss the playoffs completely. So I'm going to put them both because they're both on that play-in tournament tier. The Charlotte Hornets did a good job of getting better. Terry Rozier is really scary these days. LaMelo Ball is ascending into a superstar potentially. Definitely, I'd say he may already be better than Lonzo. Very talented LaMelo Ball. I am a big fan of the player. Was before the draft. There was a lot of doubters. I was not one of the doubters, and they've done a good job of filling out the rest of the roster. I think that PJ Washington is ascending into a solid player. He's a better player on the court than he is off the court. That's for damn sure. Out here giving ladies max contracts to who can't even hit a layup. But still, solid team everywhere for the Charlotte Hornets. They're a playing caliber team. Same with the Indiana Pacers. What's going to be a factor is their depth in the guard positions, because there is a little bit of a lack of that beyond Brogdon as well as Karis LeVert. They drafted Chris Duarte. I knew they drafted a guard. Chris Duarte got drafted. He's going to help with that depth. He's a little bit more NBA ready. But the Pacers, the years of them being that automatic 4 or 5 seed are over. Sabonis is immensely talented. Miles Turner is a good player, but I think the Pacers need to kind of commit to the modern NBA style of only one big. Commit to Sabonis as your starting center. Move on from Miles Turner. Get some good assets in return. They're a solid team. They're a fun team. They're a talented team. But they're kind of like the Raptors. They may just not be able to compete with those solid playoff teams right now. Missing the playoffs, the Washington Wizards did a good job of making themselves better. I just don't think they're good enough to be in the play-in tournament again. They did a great job. I think moving on from Westbrook, they added in some solid pieces. I think they needed to move on from Westbrook. Can Kyle Kuzma find that early potential that had him argued to be the best player out of the draft class? He was going to be. After getting drafted, it was 27th overall. He won. I'm pretty sure he won Summer League MVP in his Summer League year. And they just it was KCP's a solid player to have. Harrell's a solid player to have. 6th man of the year a couple years ago. There's talent. There's fun. Ultimately, they're not going to commit to tanking, and they're going to miss the playoffs. Bottom feeders. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put Detroit at the missed playoff tier. I think that they have done a great job of 180ing that organization. The new front office has done wonders to put talent on this team. They've looked fantastic in the draft. Last season, Sadiq Bey, steal a little bit. Isaiah Stewart, overlooked, looked great. That's a good team. They're not going to make the playoffs. But, you know, they're going to try, and they're not going to make it, but they're going to look a lot better than they have done in other years. And they're going to take a step in the right direction with this one. I mean, only keep Miles Turner. Oh, Sabonis is better than Miles Turner. Come on. Sabonis is an all-star. Sabonis is better than Miles Turner. That's why. It's just flat out. Much more talented. All right, bottom feeders. Cleveland Cavaliers. Having like 5 guys who are 7 feet tall is not going to save them from being trash. Evan Mobley, I don't think is going to save them from being trash. We're still wondering about Colin Sexton in the NBA. We're still wondering. There's a lot of questions about the guys on this team. Did they overpay Jared Allen? Did they need Lauri Markkanen? I would say no. I'd say it was a pretty stupid acquisition to bring in Lauri Markkanen. Losing Larry Nance in the process, I didn't think that was smart. Larry Nance onto greener pastures. I don't understand what the Cleveland front office is doing. Man, they're so lucky LeBron fell in their lap. They're so lucky LeBron cared enough to go back to. Man, just not a good organization. And they still have Kevin Love on the books, who's refusing to negotiate a buyout. Final one is the Orlando Magic. They're a work in progress. I don't think they're going to be keen on winning games this year. Jalen Suggs, as talented as he is not going to save that team this season. Cole Anthony's on the rise. Suggs is on the rise. You know, there's good players here, but ultimately they're still missing a lot to be a true good team. They're my pick to finish last in the Eastern Conference, which will give them a good pick. But there it is. There is my tier list. Play-in tournament is the most populated tier, but it's what it is. I think those are your play-in tournament teams. I really do feel like the Toronto Raptors won't. It's so difficult for me to say, but if the Raptors are flirting with a 10, 9, 8 seed, they might just decide fuck it and miss the playoffs and get a better pick, honestly. That's my worry as a Raptors fan. I don't want to see us do that. I think that the Raptors could finish anywhere from here to here, but you know, in the middle for now. We'll see what Masai Ujiri wants to do with this team, but ultimately those are my teams. Brooklyn are unstoppable unless the injury bug hits them again, and that's all there is to it.